70%.
Right.
Remember that there was a waiver that was of 15% that was done last year. Now that waiver of the 15%, we were paying for it as taxpayers.
Right.
Why? Because if KPLC is buying electricity at a lower, at a higher price, and selling this power to us as Kenyans at a lower price,
Right.
somebody has to take care of this difference.
Right.
Either KPLC records the loss and foots it,
Right.
or because of this waiver that we have given, we get from the taxpayer to cover this deficit.
Right.
And that was also on the petroleum products. So what happened is the system could not hold. You can imagine this is the system, the tax that we are collecting is the one that you're using to pay civil servant salaries, to do development, to fund infrastructure,
Right.
to also repay loans. And on top of that, you add this waiver. So it was unsustainable.
Right.
And that is at a time when this tax collection is shrinking. So we had a choice of either increasing the tax or removing this waiver. And that is what we did remove. So we just moved from we moved away from the 15%. And also now costed what Kenya Power needs to cost. That is one, the cost of generation, the cost of transmission, the cost of distribution, and a little headroom to allow for these transmission losses that I'm talking about.
Right.
So how are we going to reduce the power costs?
Yes.
I did mention one way, and we are hoping we can be able to move the transmission losses from 22.4% to an envisaged about 17% in the next 3-4 years. So if we can be able to reduce those transmission losses, then they will directly translate into your power bill. That is one.
Right.
Two, I did mention that with the improved hydrology, the improved levels of our dams, then we are doing more of hydropower production,
right,
as opposed to doing thermal production. We have increased our renewable energy composition from 92% to around 96%. So currently we're only generating about 4% from our thermal plants. And during the low hydrology, we were pushing between 8 and 10%. That will affect your power bill of this month.
Right.
When are you going to pay your power bill of this month? Next year in January.
Right.
So I can tell Kenyans to I can look them in the eye,
right,
and tell you that your power bill in the coming month will be slightly lower because of the impact of us generating more power using hydropower as opposed to thermal production.
And that's a promise.
Yes.
And that's a promise to Kenyans who are watching right now that
yes,
by next month,
yes, there'll be a small, there'll be a reduction.
Right.
I do not want, EPRA is still doing the numbers.
Of course.
I cannot promise an exact number, but certainly we expect that there'll be a reduction of the power costs.
Right, and that,
yes,
you know, you had it here first at